Uno, dos, tres. Letitia Talokan!
Who has the best costumes in this movie, and it doesn't have to be your own character?
But it is, though. It is.
Right?
I'm sorry. My costumes are pretty fly. I liked my jumpsuit the most. I remember just watching Ruth's process in making it. Ruth is very collaborative, and each fitting is that. How do you feel in it? You know, because she wants you to feel your best in it, and she wants you to be able to do what you need to do in the suit. So she's very receptive to feedback and the patterns. I would give her my opinion about that, and she's just got such a great eye. Every time I went for a fitting, there was different colors added to it, iridescence and what have you. And in the end, it's such a sculptural piece on my body. I loved it.
I mean, Ruth is national treasure, you know what I mean? Like, she did Spike's early stuff, for God's sake, you know what I'm saying? Like, she a living legend, and you would not know it from spending time with her. You would not know it. She is a humble, generous, giving person. But yeah, she's special. Those costumes are insane. And they would look even better on camera. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll walk up to them in person and say, man, we're not gonna catch all of these details. And I look at the dailies, it's like, man, it's even clearer.
Oh, there's so many great looks. I mean, you know, I love the Midnight Angels outfit, but I was like, guys, you gotta make the eye holes bigger. Need peripheral vision. But, you know, I do love that look. And I love the Talokan, you know, I think they're incredible. That was a very new and beautiful, eyeful to receive. It was luscious and beautiful, and they just carried it so gorgeously.
My favorite costume, without spoilers, is a robe with some wings.
Okay, I see where you're going.
It's an amazing costume, but at the same time, that costume almost killed me under the water. The costume embraced yourself literally, and it's crazy, but it's my favorite.
So pretty to look at. I'm just like, wow, you know, like I really see the inspiration of the blowfish and the little details of it.
This guy, he has the best costume. I love how regal it is. I love how it's a beautiful connection to Mesoamerican tradition and culture. I just love it. I love the costume. It's great.
That version with the feathers, I love that costume with the cape and everything.
And the shorts.
Thank you. My people call me Kukungkan, but my enemies call me Namor.
What is the most memorable thing a fan has said to you about your character?
I mean, Shuri is really loved. A memory for me was going to Disneyland and seeing a little girl with a Shuri t-shirt on. She was like this high, and she ran up to me and she hugged me. She's like the princess on her t-shirt came to life in front of her. I said I loved her. She said she loved me back. That was the most memorable thing.
One of the most surprising experiences was in London. This young white English boy, he just really wouldn't let go of my hand and was just looking at me with great joy. And his father was like, I'm so sorry, you're just his absolute favorite. And that was just something very interesting in that moment, because the realization of how, you know, we can put women in these roles on these big platforms and they transfer to everybody. We don't have to worry about, you're not the right race or gender to play a heroic role. That's nonsense.
There was a young kid, maybe 5 years old, with the whole costume, you know, with the helmet. And the kid said, my daddy did it. So for me, it was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. This father, this guy, I think he was single or whatever, but he did this for his kid. And how much love and passion he put in that costume. Like, oh my God, this is meaningful. This is the kind of power in the best way possible that you have as an actor when you are doing something like this, you know, like this movie. It's beautiful.
I was at home in Oakland working with a friend of mine named Elvis Mitchell on his show. We were at King's Boxing Gym. A gentleman about my age came up to me, and he had his young daughter. She was dressed as Shuri, and she was like, hey, Shuri's my favorite character. It was heartwarming. What's your name, sweetheart?
Black Panther's sister.
Oh my goodness.
You spent a lot of time in water in this movie. How long did you have to hold your breath?
You know, I worked very hard for this. A lot longer than she did. I started, you know, 30, 20 seconds. And then I built myself up to like, close to 4 minutes, 3 minutes and 45 seconds. But this one, she went over 6 minutes.
But my first day I started in 30 seconds, and at the end I'm finished in 6 minutes and a half. So I was like, okay, I'm good.
I mean, no one came close to her.
Well, it's not better than Kate Winslet. She has the record.
Avatar.
Yes.
Among a cast of heavyweights, whose performance really knocked you out?
Oh no, you can't ask me that. I honestly think everyone was just so fantastic. I feel very, very fortunate to be a part of this type of ensemble. What I can tell you is we just really give each other everything we've got. It doesn't matter who the camera's on. We are always just pouring out to each other. So that they've got you and you've got them. And that was really the culture of the first movie. It was definitely spearheaded by our late brother, Chadwick. And it's definitely something that really guided us through this process, which of course had its challenges because it was a process of grief and loss for us in a literal form and also in the narrative. But having that connection with this amazing group of actors and the camaraderie and giving each other everything you've got all the time, that was it. That was what really made everything work.
Whose performance inspired you the most?
Letitia Wright. Shuri. Her character goes through one hell of an arc in this story. The Shuri we met in the first Black Panther has evolved a whole lot more. In this movie, we're all exploring grief and how we handle it, and Shuri is handling it in a challenging fashion that audiences will be surprised by, but also hopefully will be able to relate to.
How did you as a cast decompress?
We laughed a lot. We would remember things about Chadwick and exchange stories. We would imagine how he would react to certain things that were going on set. His memory was alive, so it wasn't all, morose. It was actually quite a joyful process. And the process of making this film was therapeutic, and we were all just so happy to be back together again.
I spent a lot of time with Letitia, especially. Amazing. Angela would have special outings, and we'd go watch a movie at a place where, they're feeding you and plying you with drinks at the same time as watching the film. So, she was really amazing with that. And Lupita organized some outings too. So we'd have outings together to check in and take care of each other. But there were times we just have quiet evenings together as well. I did a lot of that with Letitia. And you have a check-in, you have some spiritual time, you might have some prayer time.
What is your favorite cast tradition on set?
My favorite one is the rap kids. They all make sweatshirts and t-shirts and swag. It's kind of decked out in their own character stuff. And it's like a competition. Whose merch was better? Danai had an epic one, man. Epic one. That says bald-headed demon. But it's got an image of the top of Okoye's head, the tattoo, and then the blue eyeshadow that she has on at the end of this film. But I would say it's the merch.
What is your favorite Talokan word and what does it mean?
Likik Talokan. Likik Talokan! It's powerful. It's like, hey, let's go.
Likik Talokan! So besides you, who's the expert in all things Wakanda in the cast?
The expert besides me is not in the cast. That's gotta be Hannah Beekler, our production designer. Hannah will start talking to you about the history of the country and where things was built and what neighborhood we in and why this neighborhood is built with this material. With the cast, they kind of in their own lanes.
When you think about your contribution to the Black Panther legacy, what are you most proud of?
I'm proud of rising to the occasion. Some of the things that Nakia has to do weren't easy for me. The way Nakia was dealing with the loss of T'Challa is very different from how I was dealing with the loss of Chadwick. And so I had to really learn from her. And I'm proud of that because when we started the process, I wasn't in a place of maturity that the role required me to be in. But as a result of having to step in her shoes, I think she helped me through my grief.
I'm proud of Chadwick. I'm proud of what he created. He brought the integrity to this world from day one and the authenticity. He said this man speaks with an African accent. This man speaks an African language. Him and John Kani instilled that in Captain America when we first meet him. And that from there on, we were dealing with a real, authentic interpretation of this African world. And to me, that means everything. And that sort of integrity that he put into place is I think, such a core aspect of its success. And that is the legacy he created.
You're so generous. You mentioned Chadwick, but what are you most proud of for you personally, for what you contributed?
Oh, I just feel thankful that I actually understood the assignment, in the sense that I was raised in Southern Africa, in Zimbabwe. And so I wanted to give it everything I had and more, because I know how marginalized the viewership can be around Africa. So to actually get to tell this type of a story, for me, it was like, bring it on. I definitely gave it everything I've had, like in terms of my fight training and in terms of really giving this woman as much dimension and fullness as I possibly could. And so I'll embrace that as something that I tried to contribute.
It has traveled to many nations and touched the hearts of many people. This franchise has blessed so many people, and we have such a true support from the world. It feels amazing. Really proud to be a part of it.
People that normally felt apart from the narratives, but now the people has something, really close. That happened to me when I watch Black Panther. The first one for me was like, oh my God, they look like me, And many actors in Mexico, Latin America, all of us were like, oh, now it's our turn. And then the second part happens, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's our turn, it's our turn. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's crazy being in a movie like this, because the fans could enjoy a little diversity and a lot of different language and colors and different faces. I'm very proud in this movie about my face, because when I watched my face for the first time, it was like, oh my God, a lot of women in Mexico looks like me with this color, with this face, and I'm very proud about this.
I'm proud of what all of my collaborators have done. I'm in awe of them every day, but I would say the emotion I feel more than pride is just gratitude that it would be me that got to work with these people. They got to spend years with Chad talking about these characters and watching the relationships blossom, watching this fictional culture turn into something real. And then on this one, watching us come together and deal with the very human emotion of grief, wrap our arms around each other and make something again. I had a front row seat to it. I'm just grateful. If this thing connects with audiences, we might be in a position where there'll be generations of Black Panther movies. Each generation gets their own version. You know what I'm saying? They making these things long after me, Nate, and Kevin are gone. That'd be a true hope.